There are some who claim that belief in God is a matter of evidence. They think that the question like, can the universe exist without God, is a meaningful scientific question. To support their view, they discuss apparent cosmological fine-tunings found in nature. They invoke logical arguments, an example is provided by the many variations of the cosmological argument. These have been around ever since the Middle Ages. They rely on naive catchphrases like nothing can come out of nothing, or syllogisms like whatever begins to exist has a cause, the universe began to exist, and therefore the universe has a cause called God. The problem is that we have actually known for 30 years that nature does not obey classical logic. I refer to the celebrated experiment of Alain Aspect and collaborators. It has been repeated many times with the same metaphysically profound result. Aspect was using photons to test certain aspects of quantum physics, the so-called Bell's inequalities, but his results are independent of quantum physics. Simply stated, he verified that nature does not obey the laws of classical probability theory and hence the laws of classical logic. The law of excluded middle, one of the cornerstones of classical logic, does not hold in nature. It is as if a property of an object can simultaneously both exist and not exist.
Now, before I give these, let me address Professor Enquist's remarkable attack in his opening speech upon classical logic. He says that quantum physics shows that the law of excluded middle is false. I have two responses to that. First, that is simply untrue. It is a very tiny minority of quantum physicists today who adopt quantum logic as an interpretation of quantum physics. You do not have to deny the law of excluded middle in order to hold to quantum physics. But secondly, in any case, this does nothing to deny the 9 rules of logic which govern all rational thought. If you deny the 9 rules of logical inference, you won't even be able to reason, much less to provide a refutation of the case. So the person who denies logic is in the position of using logic to deny logic, which is simply self-defeating.
It is just a simple observational fact that laws of classical probability theory fall at the quantum level. In the microphysical world, the laws of logic as we know them do not hold. This is a fact, this is a scientific fact, an observation. Logic, of course, and the laws of classical probability theory hold extremely well at human scale. And in fact, this is one of the problems of quantum physics, how the classical world that we observe emerges from quantum reality.
Now, Professor Enquist insists that quantum physics forces us to deny the laws of classical logic. But again, I want to reiterate my 2 points. It is not true that you have to abandon the law of excluded middle in order to hold to the truth of quantum mechanics. For example, take David Bohm's interpretation of quantum mechanics. It's fully deterministic, it's in accord with all the empirical evidence, and it doesn't require any abandonment of classical logic. So it is simply not true that quantum physics forces you to abandon the law of excluded middle. It is a very tiny minority of physicists who think this. But secondly, in any case, I'm not appealing to the law of excluded middle. I'm using the 9 rules of logical inference, and these are undeniable. You can't even reason without them. Does Professor Enquist seriously think that it is invalid to reason P implies Q, P, therefore Q? That's logically necessary. So if the alternative to theism is to deny logic, well, it seems to me that the non-theist is in really serious trouble there. They can never again say that theists are irrational for believing what we do.